We were both brought up in southern England. We met in a church club and been going ever since.
So. Yes, we met as 13-year-old teenagers and somehow we've stuck it all the way through. It's been wonderful.
My mother was into horses and grandmother was into horses. And so, yeah, I was brought up to be fond of horses.
When we first met, I was on my bicycle coming from school, and Gillian was on her horse riding after school. And it's not easy to have conversations when she's 5 foot taller than me.
We lived very close to Wimbledon Common and Richmond Park. We had a lovely stable up the top of the hill, Coombe Hill, and I rode there every day. And if it wasn't every day, it was, every Saturday. And they were very good to me. I was a very good rider and joined the Pony Club. And the Pony Club was good to me because I was a good rider and I got offered a lot of rides for shows, other people owning the horses, and I would show the horses for them.
After college, I needed a job because we had our first child by that time, and I joined Procter & Gamble. And after 5 years, they did what I was hoping they'd do. They sent all of us, 2 daughters, Gillian and I, to Cincinnati in 1964, which is the same year the Beatles arrived. And things were happening in this country when we arrived. It was very exciting. They then transferred us to Spain for a 4-year stint, starting Procter in Spain. When we finished that, that's when we got very seriously into horses.
Yes, we had horses in Spain, and it was wonderful because David got interested as the children, the girls got into showing in Spain, and of course we met many famous people there. Good name-dropping time for us, and we had 2 clubs there that were very important, Somos Aguas and Casa de Campo. And as I say, some very famous people were there, which was interesting. At any rate, we bought 2 horses there, Adaja and Bienvenido, one for each of the children. The children had a wonderful time with them, and David had to give up cricket, and so he got involved with the horses too there, and we had a wonderful relationship. And of course, in that kind of community you have grooms and people that look after the horses, which we've never had before. I learned to vault in Spain. That's gymnastics on horses. And I took that gift back with me to the farm.
Procter & Gamble, after 5 years in Spain, said it's time to go back to Cincinnati.
And I wasn't working at that point, in America. So I took up this job of managing this farm. And then the owner said she was selling, and we said, oh dear, where are we going to go? Because as manager, I lived in the farmhouse. And they said, you're buying it. And David managed to find the cash.
Yeah, that was only in America, that story. And here we are owning an 80-acre horse farm out of the blue. And from 1980 on, we just put our lives and souls into it when I wasn't at the office, and Gillian was there all the time.
It was my joy. It was an absolute paradise. There was woods, farmhouse was on a hill, and then the fields went up the back to a really gentle gradient hill, which was wonderful for galloping, teaching the horses to gallop, because I did train race horses as well as riding horses. I had about 60 kids a week and a lot of grown-ups. We called Saturday our bread and butter day, and I'd start teaching at 9 with the better riders and the more advanced horses, and then move down. 10 o'clock would be not quite so good. And then at 2 o'clock we always had the handicap riding. And you know how that's advertised and how the child feels so in tune with the horse, and so important when it gets on its back and feels it's in control. So these handicapped children are a great joy, and a lot of the children that rode earlier stayed on to help with them. We had musical rides at Christmas where the children all presented what they could do and dressed up in different things. We had the vaulting, of course, was a great success. We did exhibitions all over Ohio, and the kids loved it. 2 of the kids represented us in Washington, and we also took the team to many fairs and different horse shows and things to demonstrate their prowess. Another time we were in Cairns in Australia, and they had belly dancing classes, so I went to that. And when you're sitting trot, you have to use your seat to move with the horse, and so I took back the belly dancing class music and taught them all to belly dance. We had great fun. I mean, it was wonderful. It really was my joy. The kids can talk to you about things when they've got a horse that they're patting and cuddling, and they feel relaxed and happy. And as I say, my horses, on the whole, were marvellous. I had 4 stallions at one time, 1 in each corner of the barn, and I always wore the same scent, so they'd know it was me. You know, stallions can be a bit tricky. And of course we had the dog kennel too, and that was a great success and still is. We have an acre of ground we call the orchard, and the dogs run out there twice a day, and we put great long leashes on them, lunge lines, and they could go on the grass, and they liked that. So David got very involved with the dog kennel.
That was special. The long leashes were in case this dog didn't want to be caught, and so we found one way to solve that problem. But I got to know good dogs and not such good dogs, and it just takes time to win the trust of any of these animals that are in a strange situation, and yet we know that with some tender time with them, they'll perk up, and of course then the owners come back and the dog's so happy, so guess what? The owners bring that dog back again and again and again. Daughter's been running it since the year 2000. That's when we came down to Sanibel, and Now we're in Shell Point, and the daughter's done a superb job of running that farm. It's still doing the same kind of programs that Gillian installed in the first place.
I've been totally blessed with my family, with the farm, the people I worked with. Thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. You know, what a wonderful joy it was. It was a real paradise, it still is. So that's our gift to as many people as we could, to enjoy and learn, because you learn patience and discipline and love when you're dealing with something you really enjoy, you know. So it was very special.
This is the girl I've always loved.